I'm Dan Drake. This is Front Up on Geno TV and Channel 99. With us today is Marsha Kotalac. Marsha, you're a longtime island fixture. You had businesses, you've done a lot of different things, and you've gotten yourself involved in the Community Foundation, as I understand it. What drew you to that?
Well, I started out, I've always lived on Nantucket, so that's for 64 years. And I was an elementary school teacher, and then I had the sports locker and the airport gift shop. And when those things went away, I had a lot of time on my hands. So I became a member or on the board for the Community Foundation. And for the last 3 years, I've been chair of the Grants Committee, which
let's come back to that. Well, we'll talk about what the Grants Committee does.
Okay.
But there is a special program of the Community Foundation that you're interested in, the Nantucket Fund, correct?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the background of that and how it came to be and how it's grown.
Well, it started out as the Community Grants in 2007, and it has become the Nantucket Fund. And from 2007 until last year, 2015, we've been able to grant $500,000 to 47 different nonprofits on the island.
And it's geared specifically to helping smaller nonprofits, right?
Yes.
For the most part, anyway.
We like to help some of the smaller guys that really struggle, and they really need even the smaller grants that we were able to assist them with. Last year we gave out $139,000, which was a 36% increase from the year before.
And how big are the grants generally?
The grants, I would say, there are some $1,000 grants. The biggest grants we've ever given out are $20,000. I'd say the most of them are $3,000, $4,000, $5,000.
And so what's your role in that process?
Well, as chair of the Grants Committee, we have some meetings to decide how we want things to go, and we revamp the application, and we also have, for the past 2 years, held community roundtables where we invite community leaders to meet and discuss the island's greatest needs. And so we listen very carefully to that, and we stir that in our pot when we get together and decide where the money's going to go. We notify all the nonprofits, of which Nantucket has about 110, and invite them to apply for a grant.
How many of them apply?
I'd say between 30 and 40 apply every year, and they have to explain exactly what the money will be for, how they'll use it, how many people will be affected with it. And then we have to, we have a committee of 13 for the Grants Committee, and we divvy up all the people that applied and go and personally interview them. And then we come back together as a group and discuss what we've learned about the organizations and how they're going to use the money. And we take into consideration what we learned at the community roundtable, where the greatest needs are, and we also have a pretty good idea of where the greatest needs are. And then after a few meetings, we decide where we think we can best put the money and where we're going to be able to help some of these small nonprofits the very most.
So some of them get turned down. They don't all get money.
No, they don't all get money, even though we'd love to give everybody money. Everyone's deserving of it. All the nonprofits need help. But Nantucket, from time to time, from year to year, has different priorities. This year at the Community Roundtable, you won't be surprised to learn that the number one need was affordable housing, followed pretty closely by mental health and substance abuse. And also what came up this year were elder services and after-school programs for children and year-round transportation.
It's quite a handful for any fund giving out money.
Yeah, so we try to...
spectrum of society, basically. How did it compare to the prior community forum? Was it pretty much the same, or
yes,
was there some change?
The results were pretty much the same, but what bubbled up this year were elder services, homelessness, and there was a little talk last year about after-school care for children, but that came to the top more this year.
Interesting.
Diversity was talked about as well, because we have a lot of people from different cultures here, and for instance, in the school system, I know there's a program going on right now to help kids get ready for kindergarten, the ELL students. So it's really kindergarten readiness.
On the subject of diversity, one of those groups I think you supported was the NHA's diversity program, that you were one of the early
Yes, the NHA is so big that they're capable of, and they have the manpower to handle running a program like this. And we've helped support the diversity of the different cultures. When they started last year, having a special night for, I don't remember exactly which, I think Bulgaria was one of the countries, El Salvador was one of them, Nepal was one of them. I know this year on October 2nd it's going to be Mexico. And so we've helped support that initiative where people of that culture can get together and share their culture and their experiences, and we can go and learn about it as well.
What do you find most rewarding about the process?
I think it's really exciting that when we get together as a community, as a group, and we pool monies that we're lucky enough to get from generous donors, and we do get a nice amount from the Untitled Chapter, which is designated for human services. We get a nice amount from the Nantucket License Plate Project, and that's designated for children's programs, and then a lot of other generous donors like you and I and a lot of people, and anyone else watching that would like to donate to the Nantucket Fund. I think it's really exciting to be able to help some of these nonprofits that are really addressing some of our greatest needs on the island.
What are your particular areas of interest, if any?
Well, it's probably quite like everybody else, but housing and mental health and substance abuse speak to me for sure. And they're also interrelated.
That's right, they are. When in the past you've run a raffle, you're not doing it this year?
No, we've done it for 3 years. We're taking a break for this year, and we're working on some other initiatives. And I have a feeling we probably will do it again, but not this year.
But it's a good way of getting the community even more engaged in the process.
Well, when I came up with the idea of the raffle and we started it, it was all about money, and I thought it was a good way to hopefully add like $10,000 to the Nantucket Fund. And we did do that. But what we really found out, it was a really good tool to talk to people about the Community Foundation for Nantucket and the Nantucket Fund and the nonprofits. So in the last 5 years, I've learned a lot about all the nonprofits on the island.
One of the areas that the Nantucket Fund has supported has been the rental assistance and the food pantry, right?
Yes.
Which are very basic needs of people here.
Yes, and I can't tell you where I read this, but I did read in some of the literature that 10% of our islanders use the food pantry every year. And I also, in that same article, read that 12% of the people on Nantucket live below the poverty level.
Of the year-round residents?
Yes, of the year-round residents.
Which speaks to the need for...
And the rental assistance program is really a Band-Aid. It doesn't pay someone's rent for the whole year. If someone's in dire straits and they feel like they're going to have to leave the island and they're really behind in rent, it may help them with 1 month.
But it's a help.
Yes,
I mean,
it's definitely a help, and it's really needed.
The island coming together. That's the whole point of the Nantucket Fund, I think.
Yes, it is.
The island coming together year-round and summer people to...
Yes, and a lot of our summer visitors have been very generous with us, and I think that they realize that we hope that we have our finger on the pulse of the needs of Nantucket, and it's a really, really nice way to help out Nantucket.
How can people give to the Nantucket Fund?
It's really easy. You can go onto our website and you can donate
for
right
the Community
online.
Foundation.
Yes, go on to Community Foundation for Nantucket, and it's really easy. Just click on donate and you can, or you could just write a check to Community Foundation for Nantucket and mail it to the office, and it will go into the Nantucket Fund.
Marsha, you've done great work with this. Congratulations, and thank you
you
for coming on and sharing it with us.
Thank you.
Marsha Kotalac.